one of the top dudes. It's like him and Jericho and like the Young Bucks, and then that guy Tony Khan who owns it.
AKI. Really excited for that game because Team AKI makes the best wrestling game.
Why is the show not on, Joe?
It is on.
Yeah?
Go try it. I'm trying to get music started. Shh.
You shh.
You shh.
You shh. You're a shh.
Two Power Rangers.
Mm.
You get a what?
2 Power Rangers are at this comic book store in Rainbow today.
2 Power Rangers?
Yeah, Kathleen Sullivan and Nakia Burst.
I don't know who they are.
The yellow and pink. Yeah, see.
Oh, Zero? Okay, I was like, I don't know who this is. It Jason,
Nakia.
David, Frank charging $4 million for an autograph?
You might like.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have a podcast that they do. I had no idea they were here. Send it to me.
Is it called Morphin Time?
I don't know. But like, I guess they're going. I'm gonna be eating barbecue. Gosh, at least.
What a white guy.
What?
What? Our old boss said when.
Oh.
Bill left.
I heard. Do you know where he went?
Valley Grocery is this.
Okay, interesting. We'll talk off stream about that. What the problem is, Joe?
Absolutely not.
What does that make us? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
As well? Yeah? You didn't reply to my text about South Park.
Yeah.
Dude, those scenes were hilarious, okay? I thought
but I don't understand the reference. So. Episode 2?
No, episode.
I know you were talking about episode 1, but episode 2 is one of the funniest.
Oh, with a token?
Yeah.
I laugh when like the doctor is like looking at the camera.
I'm like, I've been wrong this whole time.
It's like, what?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. No, I thought that was hilarious. But dude, that like Miss Cartman on the phone with PC Principal, like, and then Matt Damon told me fortune favors the brave, and then I lost all my fucking money. And he's like, what?
That
was hilarious. Oh, it's a commercial for like crypto.com. And it's like, it's just the mere fact that it.
Is that the one with Matt Damon on it?
No. So like the new season just started like 2 weeks ago. And it's like, the first 2 episodes are actually really good. And it's like, it's that and then the fucking, what is this, Nazi Germany? Dude. And then that keeps escalating. I thought that was hilarious. Basically, they took this idea of the school having pajama day, where the kids can wear pajamas, and they turned it into a whole thing about people wearing masks. And it was hilarious. Because it was like, certain people could wear their pajamas and certain people couldn't. And then people were like judging the people who weren't wearing pajamas. And then it was just, it was so funny. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was hilarious. You're all caught up on It's Always Sunny, right? Okay, so I'm finally going through last season, like when they're in Ireland. Dude, I had to pause, crying laughing at when when Dennis and Dee go to the realtor to go rent a castle, and he's like dying of COVID. Dude, I was losing it. I was laughing so hard during that whole scene. And he can't speak, and she's just riding him like crazy about being a mongrel. Dude, I was dying. I was like, this is the funniest thing this show has ever done. This one scene. Yeah.
We're not gonna get a good deal.
Oh my gosh. Tears, bro.
Another scene.
What? Like not in that episode? Or?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I might actually
well,
the last one.
I just finished that episode, and it ended where, like, they get there at the castle, and he starts going crazy and trying to kill Dee.
Yeah.
And then they take him to the hospital, and that's where it ended up.
All right.
That's really short.
You ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna do this.
Hey, I have been ready, sir.
Bean ready?
I have been ready.
What are you talking about?
It's that time for the most interactive podcast on Twitch with your host, Elden Ring, our OG mod, and yours truly on the switchboard.
So speak freely.
Coming to you from our live studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's Game News Live.
Oh, that's cool.
What the hell is that?
It's a Rubik's Cube.
Looks like a 1980s artifact.
Ancient scholars tell us.
I was dead though.
This is how people measure.
This
their
was video
smartness.
games before video games. Remember that? What was that old like Kevin Butler PlayStation 3 commercial when it was like, of course your grandma likes it. Like her way of fun when she was a kid was like pushing a hoop with a stick.
Yep. Yep. Hey, what's up,
Hey,
BK?
I mean, you know, he messed up.
Kevin Butler.
Kevin.
He
So
did
it
another
was.
commercial.
It was Kevin Butler was this like fake head of Sony or head of PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
And his commercials were solid gold, man. They were so funny. And then like the actor, like Jerry something, I forgot his name. He was in a commercial where like for like a tire company or something, and he was
Yeah.
playing like a Wii. And Sony was like, "That's it, you're out."
Dude, it was the most hilarious fucking commercials ever.
They were great, like how well they were written. It was really funny.
But then
because,
he also started like his own like promotional commercial company as well, and that's
I don't
why
even know.
he was casted in a lot of it, is because he was also the owner. So a lot of that made sense, and I was like, oh. You would think that he would know better than to hold anything else besides a PlayStation controller.
Boom, solved. There you go. Pose. I'm so good.
So good.
Are you glad you did that like on stream? Just go off how smart you are.
I didn't even know the stream was running.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly.
DK Melinda says here. He says it's good to see.
Yeah. Syndicated is
Before-
our guest star.
Before Cinderkin abandoned us.
Hey, man.
Confirm not dead.
Yeah. Yes. Like every now and then I'll mention like I was playing a game with you, and people are like, I don't think he's a real person. And I'm like, yeah, he is.
Yeah. You just got to turn on the lights. That's all.
Oh wow. Wow. Racist. Wow.
Oh, we're back to that.
Yeah.
Didn't take long.
Nope.
Like, what, under 10 minutes?
Huh.
Go
New
make the
record.
racist comment? Okay. There you go.
All right. We ready to do this?
Again, we have been ready, sir.
All right. Then what's the first one?
Game releases. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. Boom! Suck it.
Game releases.
Brian's in the chat now, too.
Yeah. Brah.
Brian.
And the levy was brah.
And the levy was Brad. Oh, this is why we can't do good shit. All right.
All right, first up, Destiny 2 Witch Queen is set to come out yet another expansion pack. Is there anything special about this? Probably not, because I'm still not going back to that.
It's going to be a boring shooter worth $2.6 billion.
And now it's under
$3.6
Sony.
billion.
Yeah.
And Sony is going to be like, Destiny 2 Witch Queen.
Oh, check this
and
out.
Everybody's going to go, Destiny's still around?
Yeah. Wait a second. Yeah, but you don't understand, guys. They used to make Halo, and we just bought that company. Drop the mic. What?
Ergo, vis-a-vis concordantly, we bought Halo. There you go.
Yeah. That's going to be crazy. Dark says, I can't hear Joe. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Joke's on you. I got the meters in front of me, so shut up.
Joke's on you. We can't hear him either.
All right. So that's pretty much Destiny. If y'all excited about it, great. If you're not, then, I mean, it's expected.
Then you're probably in the majority of gamers out.
Yeah. Rudy Tooty, aim and shooty, get some looty. That's about it.
I like that. That was,
Enjoy.
That was good.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Final Fantasy 6. 2D sprite. I don't know what system this came out
Pixel
on.
remaster. This is on PC and mobile, actually. This is not coming to consoles at all.
Yeah, but it was on console originally, right?
Yeah, 6 was originally a Super Nintendo game. Yeah, so it was 3 in America, but 6 in Japan.
Right.
Because Square liked to just really mess with people's minds back then. So yeah, the reason I wanted to call this one out is because, you know, like all these Pixel remasters have been coming out for the past year. For all of you Final Fantasy fan persons out there, 6 supposedly is the best in the series.
What percentage of fans are we talking about here?
Cloud in Sephiroth, Final Fantasy VII's greatest game of all time. No, all the Final Fantasy fan people out there will tell you that 6 is the best one in the series. And they go like
I think it's a generational thing though, because if you
is like what all the like people who started when 7 came out, because like they had just started playing like PlayStation, and
right,
go, oh, 7's the greatest game of all time. But all the old school fans are like, no, bro, 6.
I think if you separate the generation and tie it to console releases, you'll start to notice that there's a discrepancy between favorite game from one side versus favorite game on the other. Because if you notice, like, you'll start to see Doom and Quake, and those were great when they were the 3D DOS games, and now they're like, oh no, Quake 3 Arena was like the better one, or Quake or Doom 3 on the whatever it was, like Xbox back then and the PC.
Xbox,
yeah, so it's a generational like difference, I think. But one of the last 2D sprite games, that it being Final Fantasy, I would say that that's a completely like end of one generation, start of a new one.
Yeah.
But whatever. To each their own. I just think it's another cash grab, so that way they can bring your old school games that you're already emulating somewhere else onto your recent consoles.
To each their own. 15 is still better than all of these games. So there you go.
I'm a fan of 8.
Yeah.
I never really got into any of the Final Fantasies. I just wasn't a JRPG type guy.
Squall.
Yeah.
Squall. Final Fantasy 8.
All right, the next one up, we're going to move on to Martha is Dead.
Martha is Dead. Horror game. Boopy.
Who's
coming out next week?
Who's making this one?
The reason I wanted to call this one out, actually, is because there was another little piece of news that happened over the past week on this one. Apparently, there are some things in this game, which we don't really know what it is because it hasn't been released yet. Apparently, this game has some kind of graphic violence going on in it, and it's actually being edited on the PlayStation version because Sony came in and said, nah, bro, you can't show that. Time out. But Microsoft is like, go nuts, do your thing. The PC and the Xbox versions are going to be like the real versions of this game, where the PlayStation version is getting edited. So
That's
for anybody out there,
weird.
maybe you want to play that on the Xbox or the PC.
Yeah.
My
Something.
understanding, it's faces being mutilated, skin being pulled off of faces. Tony didn't like that. But they allow Red Dead Redemption 2, where you can blow people's heads off. They allow
GTA,
The Last of Us Part 2.
Last
where
of
you can
Us
kill
1
people.
and 2.
Yeah. Well, Last of Us 2 was super gritty.
Yeah.
And there are some very realistic shots with a shotgun or a pistol that is just like,
Or
did
a
I just see
Adolfo.
that be accurately depicted on the screen right now? Because it's Giblet Central.
Yeah.
But one thing to note here, Amazon is putting their sticker on here, and it's made by Wired Productions. So I don't know if that tells you anything, but I'm gonna be looking them up and seeing what the whole situation is here. Because if it's gritty, it's definitely going on my collection.
Yeah. Hey, Robert.
What's up, Robert? All right, we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
move on. Martha is dead. Good riddance. We're gonna go on to the next one. And everyone's favorite, Elden Ring. It's blowing up right now. So hot right now, Elden Ring.
It's so hot right now. So DK just put in the chat a few minutes ago that Elden Ring is what he's, watching out for. If anybody doesn't know what this is the newest Soulsborne game. So this is like your Dark Souls, your Demon Souls, your Bloodborne, your Sekiro. This is that new game. From Software, Bandai is publishing it, and it is this one is being kind of called out as different because it takes place in an open world.
So you
and
can
also-
travel anywhere, anytime.
And the story is the Game of Thrones guy, George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
So he is teaming up with Miyazaki, who's the From Software guy, and there's rings, and they are Elden, and it's going to be hard, like all the Soulsborne games, but
you're gonna
apparently
die.
this one actually has like an easy mode to it also, which all the Soulsborne fanboys are kind of blowing up because they're like, "How dare you put an easy mode into one of our games? We are so good that we care how other people play their game."
How else are they gonna go and finish the game and attract more people to playing a game that's too hard on a regular difficulty?
But that's I think that they would want extra so that more people would play it, more sales, more sequels, more games. They get to play the game that they love at the difficulty that they love, and everyone else gets to join in and play it too. I've never understood being against that.
I'm going to summarize what he just said in 3 words. F Metroid Dread. There you go.
Too hard?
It's got rookie mode. That game's hard. And not only is it hard, which I'm okay with a hard game as long as it's fun. That game wasn't fun either. There you go.
But see, I hear that a lot of people loved it, and I would assume that that's the hardcore people, right? The people
it's
who
all the
enjoy,
people who just...
the people who enjoy the pain of having to retry 80,000 times on their day off.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the game is,
I mean, to each their own. I'm okay with respawning so long as I don't get like old school 80s, you're dead, start from the beginning, or get good, or get a game genie or something like that. But it's just like, if I'm doing a game now and it's just saying, oh, game over, start from the beginning, it's like, I'm gonna put you away now. Thanks, bye.
I get it.
But that's who I am.
Yeah.
I
would say, like, I beat Metroid on the NES. That is a hard game.
Yeah.
But it was also fun.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread, it's like they just decided to take it in a new direction, and it was like, this isn't Metroid.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was groundbreaking whenever like cartridge games back in the day gave you a secret code just to start off in the same place you stopped or you died. Yeah. You know, I thought that was pretty genius because they saw that there wasn't a lot of it's a great game, but only for the skilled, right?
Yeah.
Grandma's not going to pick up this controller and be like, I'm going to get to level 3. You know, like that's not going to happen with these games. But before we get on to the next one on rumor control.
Real quick, Brian's just put in there, he got in line for a Steam Deck.
Yeah, so the question's going to be which Steam Deck, Bri?
Obviously the top level.
512 megabyte or gigabyte SSD or the MMC chip? Because believe it or not, the specs are that it's pretty equal. Mm-hmm. If you get like a regular 512 gigabyte SSD, the what's supposed to be the slower version MMC chip is actually comparable by a few seconds, not even like more than 5. And I was actually quite surprised with that, because a lot of devices that ship out with MMC type memory are like super slow. Remember back when those EEE PCs from Asus came out and they were all MMC? They were like super slow, even though they were like touting, "Oh, we're SSDs." Like, no, you're not. You're terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. Bryce said he's going for the 512 gigabyte, which I think at this point the only other difference is that you get the reflective screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get anti-glare.
Anti-glare screen. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Revolutionary.
Oh my god. I saw some people like early hands-on stuff. They were comparing the sizes of like the Steam Deck to like other things.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, here's what it looks like compared to a Switch, and it's like way bigger than a Switch. I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think a lot of design definitely went into the Steam Deck, only because when Linus opened it up, he was just like, dude, they had some really thick thermal pads. They had a lot of crazy like specs on opening up anything, and the fact that it's completely repairable with a Phillips screwdriver without having to like pull up some crazy diamond etched screwdriver that you can only find in Asia, Japan, or anything.
Yeah, Nintendo.
So that whole video that they busted out about like, oh, you know, be careful. Just know that it won't be as secure as it once was when it came out of the factory. It's like, you guys made it super easy for us to fuck this up. But thank you anyway. Thanks for the repairability. Like, now I can just swap out whatever I want.
Yeah.
But that's cool, though.
Brian, let me know when it comes in, man. Like, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
We gotta make sure we load up the Mega Man collection and beat Mega Man 2 on that guy.
The only thing I wonder is that if
Mega Man collection, like
one of them isn't
1 through 6.
It might have been Mega Man X that's not compatible with.
Man, I'm talking about Mega Man 2, the greatest Mega Man game there is. And if it's not, that's just gonna add to the fire of PC gaming sucks. All right. Anyway,
Mega Man X was probably my favorite, but that's because it came out on PC as well. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next one. We're gonna go to rumor control. All right. This one is, I believe, Capcom countdown to something. What are we speculating here?
Countdown to something. So Capcom has this ongoing countdown on their website right now about a big thing that's happening. The timer ends on Monday evening for a specific time, because it's going to be like Capcom Japan is going to be announcing something. There is speculation going on right now. There's lots of people talking about stuff. Oh, I bet it's going to be Street Fighter 6. I bet it's going to be the Resident Evil 4 remake that we've been waiting for. Somebody made a really funny Photoshop the other day, and I cracked up. So they basically said like, hackers hacked the website and showed that it's going to be the announcement that Microsoft is buying Capcom. And they showed like code. And it was like a whole like section about like, hey, I'm Phil Spencer, VP of Xbox, and like we want to welcome Capcom and all that stuff.
No way.
People lost their minds on Twitter. It was so funny. It was Capcom would never sell to Microsoft, and like Street Fighter's only on PlayStation. It was so bro. It was like the like meme of just like the guy eating popcorn.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, this gonna be like, good.
Like,
so
it's like this emo. It's like Bill Hader from Saturday Night Live,
and he's just like
being like excited eating popcorn. It was so funny.
So I don't know if you heard wind of this, I don't know if we can derive anything from like the font that they're using here or
Mm.
the color schemes or anything like that. I really am not getting anything out of this except for it's just Capcom just trying to keep it close to the chest, right? But there is something similar if we're talking about rumor control. There is something similar happening with Ubisoft also announcing something like, "Hey, you know, we're worth this and this and this much because of this." And then Ubisoft's like, but it, you know, we're not opposed to somebody going ahead and buying us.
They said that the other day. Like, yeah, and they didn't really say anything with that, so that's why I didn't include it in the show notes. But it was like, yeah, they basically said they're open to acquisition. Like, they wouldn't fight it. They're not trying to be on their own or independent or anything like that. I just don't know who would want their property. Like, Microsoft.
It's kind of like the swap meet of video game titles.
Well, so if Microsoft does get them, they'll put Ubisoft Play or Uplay, whatever that service is,
onto Game Pass.
Just like EA's, right?
Well, okay, so like, Assassin's Creed does make money. Like, I'm not gonna just be like, oh, Ubisoft games suck. No. Assassin's Creed makes money. They did announce that they are starting development on a new Splinter Cell game, so that'll be like 3 or 4 years ago. The Rabbids property does okay.
They've also shared the Rabbids property with Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo, but it's to me, it's just like I don't.
It's not really like a seller, right?
Yeah, like I don't see the benefit of them doing that. Like, yeah, like Far Cry makes decent money. Assassin's Creed makes better money. But
what about
like,
Rayman? Do you think Rayman would be?
Well, that's kind of where the Rabbids come into play. So they're, from what I understand of it, they're planning on turning Rabbids into like a big multimedia property. Gonna have like TV shows and movies and all that stuff. That all spawned out of Rayman, right? So like, Rayman is a fun series. Like, Rayman games are really good. They're not super popular.
So I think there's like a double.
Oh, and of course, Just Dance makes a ton of money.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's a double purpose here, and hear me out. I think what's happening right now is that the companies with all this news about metaverse and, you know, having a centralized place for, you know, all these IPs to be able to be sold and bought and all this other stuff is only a strategic move from Microsoft to say, we have the most IPs, come to our side of the metaverse where you can, you know, eventually, I'm not saying like it's a huge thing now. I foresee it somewhat picking up after they launch something a little bit more concrete. But the fact that you're kind of like Ready Player One, where I think Paramount, is it Paramount? Was it Paramount that had that's all their IPs? Because then in that movie, they had like Iron Giant, they had like all these other, they had Mortal Kombat, they owned, so it was all Warner Brothers, right?
I don't know. I forgot. I've only seen it once actually, so I don't remember.
So they had all these characters that they own, right?
Yeah.
But the idea and the concept is there, and the precursor to science fact is science fiction. So what you have here is you have an entire company that has a collection of IPs, and so now they have a better standing of being able to capitalize on that because you're only buying their IPs because they own them the most. So if you have Microsoft being that on the forefront of that, it doesn't matter whether Xbox Game Pass or whatever charges a small amount of money, like $10 a month, because in the later run, you're going to be trading their freaking NFTs or whatever they have, which is going to be costing a lot more, and you'll be the only one who owns them.
By the way, I know we're down a rabbit hole on this one. We are not saying Microsoft is buying Ubisoft. like that is
no, but how cheap of a sale would it be to just get Ubisoft? You know, because to me, Ubisoft isn't like, oh, I have to have that IP. To me, Ubisoft is, hey, I have to get that corner of the players who like to play Splinter Cell, get that corner who like to play Yeah, get that corner that like to play, you know, Rainbow Six. Get all the games that are like all those strategic games, right? Because they don't have that in their corner. They don't have those memorable names on their side.
So, yeah, Ubisoft is worth $7.09 billion.
That's chump change to them.
I was like, even if Microsoft offered them like 10,
How much was Activision?
67.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's crazy. You can literally like pay that off in like 2-month payments.
Yeah. I would think, you know, like Ubisoft would be cheap enough to buy, but like if Microsoft was going to go for another company to buy, I would think they should be looking at either Sega
Or Capcom.
or they should be looking at Take-Two Interactive.
Oh god.
Take-Two would be like 25 to 30 billion dollars.
I-
And then they could just say, we have Grand Theft Auto, you know, and at that point, the rest of it doesn't matter. Yeah, you get your NBA 2K games and you get, you know, like all your everything, but it's like at that point they would have Rockstar, and then, you know,
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Take-Two. But okay, so do we think that this timer that we're looking at here is the announcement of Capcom possibly going over to a company, or
no.
Already see that.
I think it's just going to be another game announcement, like just another like, hey, here's this new game, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Mega Man. Like it could be.
I think you're right, because if we look at how Microsoft announced their acquisition of Activision, it wasn't Activision coming out; it was Microsoft coming out and saying.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would leave it up to Capcom to make that announcement, as it is anyway. So you're probably right.
Yeah.
But in the end, we don't know what might happen. It's whatever. But that's the rumor control for this week, is that Capcom has a timer on their CapcomGames.com website. Check it out.
We will know Monday night.
Monday night at 10 p.m. our time, which is Pacific.
Because that's like it's like Tuesday morning Japan time or something like that.
Yeah. So if you wanna go ahead and bookmark it, I just put it on the chats. Enjoy. See what it might be. It might be something big, or it might just be another Resident Evil remake that's about to make it onto consoles.
10 p.m. bedtime, bro. I'll be asleep tomorrow Tuesday morning.
Don't lie to yourself. You know you're
Tuesday
gonna.
morning. I'll be like, oh, yeah. I don't care about it.
Yeah. Brian says new BioShock TV show. Are we talking about?
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that one. So we're gonna move on to game news now, because there was only one rumor controlled between Capcom and Ubisoft, which Ubisoft wasn't really a confirmation of anything.
Yeah.
But they just did say they're open to acquisition. Hey, Microsoft, I do what you like, huh? For money.
Yes, never mind.
All right, let's go to game news. All right, game news. So, Crossfire X, one of the free-to-play games on Xbox, very reminiscent of Counter-Strike for an alternative on Xbox, which is great.
So this is a follow-up.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to make sure we mentioned this because we talked about it 2 weeks ago. It was on the new releases. Crossfire X came out. This is that shooter. It's an FPS. It's Xbox console exclusive. So like they didn't even put this on PC or anything. As I have learned, I installed it on my Xbox because it's on Game Pass. It's free and everything like that. It's like I installed it because it has a campaign, and I like first-person shooter campaigns. For being a Game Pass subscriber, it has 2 campaigns. So like when you're on the main menu, it has 2 campaigns. You only get one of them for free. The other one you have to pay $20.
Yep.
And I was like, nope, delete. And didn't play it at all outside of the beta test I was in last year for it. Didn't play it at all.
Last year?
I was in a multiplayer beta for it last year.
Oh, okay.
And then when I saw that I couldn't get both campaigns for free, I deleted it. So it's already uninstalled. I'm not going to bother. It is getting horrible reviews. as being a very buggy, broken game, and the lead game director has basically issued a public statement pulling a Cyberpunk. We're sorry.
Sorry.
We're gonna make it better. Sorry.
I literally thought it was a copy of Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I played the game yesterday, played a couple of multiplayer rounds. I immediately noticed their free look up and down sensitivity was just like subpar. There was no way that I would be able to shoot somebody on the default.
Yeah.
If they were to jump up or were vertically in a different plane than my regular eyesight, and I was like, yeah, I'm putting this down.
Yeah.
Because it just left me wanting a keyboard and mouse that much more. Left to right, perfect. Great. But up and down, I was just like, oh, there's something wrong here.
Already not off to a good start.
Yeah.
So from what we talked about 2 weeks ago, it's like launching exclusively on the Xbox console is already a bad call.
Yeah.
If it's going to be on Xbox at this point in time, just put it on PC as well. And then Xbox players are playing Halo right now, right? Like, there's whatever.
Dark says it's a copy of Counter-Strike with Cyberpunk code. Amazing.
Exactly. And we're going to get to Cyberpunk here in a second. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna be the optimist here. I'm gonna say I'm glad that there's a Counter-Strike clone on Xbox that's free to play.
Mhm.
I would have preferred Counter-Strike being on Xbox already.
I mean, it's on the original. But,
Sure, but it's not on this one. I mean, is it backwards compatible? Can we do that?
So it was a multiplayer only game, and the original Xbox servers were shut down. So
Don't worry, guys. I'll boot one up.
there is a thing in the works right now. I've been following for a year or so. It's called Project Insignia, and it's a group of fans that are trying to revive the original Xbox's online servers.
Ooh.
And so using like third-party stuff.
So maybe we might get to see some of our Halo brethren actually come back online.
I would absolutely love that, because if they can get like the old school Splinter Cell multiplayer back online,
yeah.
Or for me, like my favorite multiplayer experience on the Xbox is actually Return to Castle Wolfenstein. If they could get that online again, it's like that's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, because it's not like we're really limited on technology anymore.
I cannot. So Cinderkin is like on his PS5 right now. He is literally purchasing Fortnite stuff right now. I literally cannot believe it.
Grab everything.
Are you ever going to play Fortnite in your life?
Probably not.
Okay. You are a piece of crap.
Free is free.
Just saying. All right.
Why? I don't. Why?
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Speaking of Cyberpunk code, huh?
Cyberpunk.
Hey, good. Patch 1.5. Next generation update. List of changes is out now. Go check it out. And you're probably not going to return to that. So,
yep, they did a big stream earlier this week. 1.5, which is across the board, so it's on PC as well. This brings it finally. The next gen being what happened last fall. So current gen consoles, I'll say, your Xbox Series X, your Series S, and your PS5. They now have those versions. Plus, like I said, 1.5 also hit the PC, and it's just a big list of updates. I installed my copy, so I actually broke the plastic on my copy that I bought on the Xbox like a year ago for $10, and I haven't installed. I haven't played it yet. I was at Brian in the chat here. I was at Brian's house last night. He has it on his PS5, and just jumped into a game, ran around the city for a little bit. Didn't see any pop-in. Didn't see any crashes.
This was on the PS5?
This is on the PS5. I have it on my Series X, but just playing it on Brian's PS5 last night. Yeah, it was stable.
So one of the things that I saw that was specific to the current gen versus the last gen was the crowd control situation, right? The crowd AI was apparently too much for the last gen consoles
last
to
gen.
handle.
Yeah, so the last gen, like your Xbox One and your PS4 are not going to get all of these improvements. They're just going to get your bug fixes.
Right.
Yeah.
Which should have been like a telling sign at that point that if you were promoting, let's just say back in E3, and we've seen a lot of games do this, you know, like Watch Frogs and all this other games that were out there. We've seen like the rollback of a lot of technology that was the reason why we were so excited on a technical level for these games. But for Cyberpunk, it was like sold as this is going to be how it is for all the consoles. Yeah. And it never turned out that way. And not only that it didn't turn out that way, is that even the current gen, which back then was the next gen, didn't even get those enhancements either until this patch came out just now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you knew you were doing false promotion because that wasn't even how it played out even at the beginning.
Sorry. We're sorry.
So it is what it is. If you purchase the game, at least you're still getting patches and it wasn't just dropped like every other game that just doesn't make the money back. But it is a huge company that has taken quite a hit financially and in the gamer community at this point. That is it relevant for you, chat? Is it something that you would boot up again or even want to load it up at all or download it or use your hard drive space?
I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it. I'm currently going through like 2 games right now. So once those are over, I was going to check it out.
Yeah. Cinderkin, did you finish off Cyberpunk?
Yeah, when it first came out, 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10?
Well, what did you play it on?
Series X.
Series X. Which is the Xbox version.
Yeah. It was a 6 out of 10 game, but there was so many bugs that it dropped down to 4.
So when you say 6 out of 10, what dropped it down to 6 besides the bugs?
It was just, the opening of the game is the best part of the game, and then they have a montage of all the cool stuff that you could have done, and then they put you into a boring world, a really boring game. There's only maybe 2 or 3 really decent quests in that entire game.
Yeah.
And there's a specific character that I really didn't like, who people may not know, but Keanu Reeves is in the game, and it would have been nice if he was just like a side character, but he takes over almost the entire game, and I didn't enjoy that.
What was that?
Johnny Silverhand, I think it was.
Bloodshore?
Yeah, Silverhand something. Yeah.
Johnny Silverhand.
Johnny Silverhand. I have not played the game yet, but if anybody, I'm interested in playing the game.
Oh no.
But at the same time, it's like, do I really want to shell out that much money for something that I already know is half-assed?
For $10, it's good.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like I said, like I got it new for $10, and it was like, all right, cool. Like I'll play it whenever it's ready to be played, and it's finally there.
Yeah, Dark is like Keanu Reeves is in it. What?
And he is breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
You're all breathtaking. Moving on.
Let's move on to some video game, television adaptation, movie adaptation news, because we're going to be talking about Uncharted.
It came out technically yesterday.
Yeah, the 1-for-1 movie adaptation to the game.
Yes. Already off to a bad start if you look at the reviews. A lot of the reviews, like the main movie sites, are basically saying it's a crappy action movie, and even the video game sites are like, whoever wrote this movie doesn't know anything about Uncharted.
So
it's like, well.
So I'll give you my 2 cents just of not watching the movie so far. I was completely confused over why Tom Holland was even chosen to play, unless they were doing like timeline differences, right? Like if you're like, oh, this is the beginning of everything.
So like from what we've seen in the trailer, and like this is just what bugs me about video game movies in general. It's like from what we've seen in the trailer, they go over when Nate and Sully meet in this movie,
right?
Which they did already in Uncharted 3, and it was like when Nate was like a kid.
Okay. So it is time.
5-year-old Tom Holland.
Yeah, they're not already like establishing as like they've had a relationship for quite some time, and this is the first video game adaptation of the freaking movie. It's like
this could just be another Uncharted story that has nothing to do with the games. Like it could be a brand new story in that same universe that they've already been in. You know, it could just be like, and here's another Drake and Sully adventure.
So you know what was surprising? And by the way, hi Joe Numbers. Joe Numbers says I saw the movie yesterday, so I think that was opening day. Is that?
I'm seeing it tomorrow.
So
like, no spoilers, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, Joe Numbers, if you've played the Uncharted games, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I mean, give us your 2 cents, and then we'll go with that expectation. Because if it's anything like the Resident Evil movies, we're gonna start off with scratch, nothing.
Fuck. All right.
What?
So Cinderkin, and like he moved way across town, right? So I don't make it over here that often.
Are we talking like northwest or southeast?
East, we're basically in
Kentucky.
It's like we are literally in Iowa. That's how far.
Oh, okay.
It's like
you drive by, there's some like kid with a banjo, and you're just like, man, I want to duel that guy.
It is so far away from my house. It's crazy. But like, ever since that latest Resident Evil movie came out, it's like we keep saying like, yeah, we'll watch it at some point. And then like a couple weeks ago, he texted me and he was like, hey, so when are we going to watch this Resident Evil movie? And I was like, oh man, I forgot. I totally forgot that thing exists because I do not want to see it at all. But now that I'm over here today, it's like,
so
we're going to have to watch it.
So Dark on the chat and I watched it and I was just so confused because I was just like, wait, that doesn't happen until this. Like it's going like so many different directions right now, and I'm just not understanding who is what and why they look so different than their counterparts, right? So aside from that, the story itself is just garbage.
Yeah.
And Dark was just like, I don't recognize who this is.
Yeah.
And so, whatever.
This makes me sad.
Yeah. So Joe Numbers says, no spoilers. I played the games. I'll be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a great start to a possible new franchise.
Okay. But that being said, Joe Numbers, could this just be because you're such a positive person?
I think so. I think he's just such a positive, like, give it a chance. You know?
All right. Good effort, guys.
Yo. But at the same time, he has called truthfully crappy stuff crappy. So, I mean, his track record isn't like false.
That being said, his game of the year for its respective year was Death Stranding. So
agree to disagree. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Walking Simulator 24/7.
Yeah,
got it.
Okay, moving on. Next media news here. All right.
Nothing against Joe Numbers because I think he's
Love
great.
man.
He's great. He plays the games that we shouldn't, and that's awesome.
Anyway, moving on.
Why don't you guys kiss already?
I mean, again?
Oh my god. Death Stranding 2019 Game of the Year. He gave God of War 2018 Game of the Year. I'd agree with that now.
Nope, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man? Okay.
Spider-Man Game of the Year 2018.
But those two were neck and neck though, right?
For sure. Absolutely. God of War, close second place.
Yeah.
Close second place. Spider-Man, outstanding. But moving on.
Move
Next one.
on to the next one. I think after that, we're going to go to the Halo TV series, which we got a tweet here. Suit up, Spartans. It's almost time to go binge watch your stuff on this other network that's going to make you charge, what, $9.99 just for Halo?
Yeah, Paramount is going. Yeah, so but BT Dubs, if you are a T-Mobile subscriber, you get a year of Paramount Plus for free.
Oh, man.
Not the ad-free version.
Not the ad-free version, but you at least get the catalog.
Wait a second. So they're taking a note from Hulu and just being like, hey, pay us for our ads and then pay extra if you don't want ads.
But free, bro.
Stupid.
Free.
I'll stick to my methodology now. It's all right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like Paramount. So Halo, which isn't even out yet, Halo the series has just announced that they're now greenlit for season 2. Season 1's not even out.
Yeah.
Season 1's not even out yet, and they're already going like, oh, which we're gonna go on to this same kind of like the thing's not even out, but we already have sequels lined up again on the next story. So
I feel like that's just drumming up just bull crap for promotion.
There you go. But I think what's the next story? Is it Sonic?
It's Sonic.
Oh, the
So
same thing, yeah.
the same thing just happened. So Sonic 2, the movie, is about to come out, which I'm very excited about because I loved the first one. But Sonic 2 is about to come out, and then they said, hey, guess what? We're now making Sonic 3.
But you haven't even received the fallout from Sonic 2 yet.
Exactly. What if Sonic 2 sucks and it tanks? We don't know yet because 3 is already greenlit, and a Knuckles series has been greenlit with Idris Elba playing Knuckles, which he is.
I don't know. I think Idris Elba can sell anything with his smooth black man voice. That gives me a sense of security. Is awesome. Like, he is an awesome actor. Nothing against him. Great voice. He is Black Superman. I get it.
What?
It was like a line in a movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the Hobbs and Shaw movie. I think. I'm Black Superman.
Yeah, that's. You should only speak with a British accent. Oi! Oh, Black Superman, I am.
I think that's like Booney level, like British.
Oi!
Oi!
Bugger!
Yeah. You sound like you need Joe Roddy.
That's Australian.
I know, which is why it's so confusing.
Crikey!
Joe Number says, I'm excited for it as well, but think about this, Clay. This isn't even close to the source material. Sort of like Uncharted.
For what, Sonic?
For Sonic or for Halo, Joe Numbers? Brian says they have a Sonic Lego set now, too. That's cool.
Brian is really into Legos right now.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because I get to see them.
To each their own, man. We finally have money to enjoy the shit that our parents told us they couldn't afford back when we were kids.
Legos are badass. They're
Yeah.
cool.
Dark says, but his shadow will be in Sonic 3. Who knows who will be part
I hope
of
not.
if anything, I would think that this whole
Shadow can be in Sonic 3 only if it's voiced by a white guy.
representation, dog.
That's it. It has to be voiced by a white guy.
Okay. All right. Aside from that, so we talk about Sonic 3 is also in development without any sort of statistics or Rotten Tomato scores. I guess they're willing to spend the money now, so might as well. Aside from that, we're going to be talking about something Shock.
Something BioShock is the best way to put that because literally Netflix put on their Twitter account, hey, we're doing something with BioShock, and that was it. That's it. Like a show, a movie,
Yeah.
a series one, or like season one of a show, a mini series, bunch of movies. Is it BioShock 1?
Look.
Is it 2?
Look.
Is it a prequel? It's just literally they go, BioShock, send tweet.
So here's where Netflix, in my opinion, is a lot smarter than all these Paramount and other like video game adaptation movies. is the fact that they actually used a line from the video game, which is, "Would you kindly stay tuned?" And I was just like, okay, you at least understand what the hell's going on here.
Yeah.
But don't play dumb when we finally get the final version then and be like, this is nothing like BioShock at all. So I think the two major points that people are going to be drawn to this show or whatever movie this is going to be is if they depict little sisters and the big daddy appropriately. Because after that,
what if it's so you know how like Netflix is like producing video games right now,
Yeah.
and they're all just these little tiny like web mobile things. What if it's like a little mobile BioShock game?
oh come on,
That would be amazing.
Terrible.
That'd be amazing. They'd be like, "Are you ready for our reveal?" And it's like, "Here's a match 3 BioShock game." Boom, 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 boom.
Please. Yeah. Joe Numbers is like, no, please don't. No. Bro, these are games from us coming of age, and it's just like, don't ruin this for us, please. Because you know we're the market now.
I mean, coming of age, I was like in my 20s.
Yeah,
But, I was like 29 when that game came out. But
Hey. We don't talk about that. I was still a zygote.
I'm just saying, that was like Xbox 360 era. So
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
All right. Get a specific trophy in Horizon's Forbidden West. Sony plants a tree? What
So
the hell?
Sony is partnering up with Captain Planet, and they are so Horizon Forbidden West just came out, and it apparently if you unlock this one specific trophy, which Cinderkin has told me this morning, it takes about an hour and a half. So like first hour and a half of the game, isn't it like once you're out of the tutorial and you're like in the first like major area of the game or something like that?
Yeah, so it's essentially was my second trophy because I got the stealthing enemies trophy first. But if you just play it normally, it's probably going to be your first trophy about an hour and a half in.
Yeah, and then once you get that trophy, it phones home to Captain Planet, and then they plant a tree.
Gotcha.
Somewhere, and there's like 3 geographic areas of the world that they're doing this to. But I wanted to call it out as a good PSA. Even if you're like myself and have zero interest in the Horizon franchise, I might actually just like borrow Brian's copy and unlock that trophy and then return it to him.
So Bry said he just got it at his doorstep a couple of chats ago, and he's installing it now. My question is, if you are a company that's already capable of planting these trees at, let's just say, a certain amount of numbers, why don't you just do that instead of waiting for this
because
cross
they don't
promotion?
sell more copies of their game, Joe.
Yeah, they were going to do it anyway, but this is PR stunt, get them buying the game.
They're gonna be like,
They're going to get this guy playing the game.
See, that's the thing. But I'm not gonna buy that crap. But still, it's like, at least I'm gonna play it and go, yeah, I planted a tree. I feel good about this, or something. I don't know.
Or just,
By the way,
just
PSA
go
out there
plant
for anybody who wants to buy Horizon Forbidden West, make sure you are buying the PlayStation 4 version of it.
Take $10.
PlayStation
$10.
4?
The PlayStation 4 version of the game is $10 cheaper than the PS5 version, and you get a free upgrade to the PS5.
Yeah, so it's a loophole.
So it's like, why would I buy the PS5 version then? Exactly, Sony dirtbags.
Stupid. Like, did you think we wouldn't notice?
I mean, Brian didn't notice, but
wait a second. Brian ordered it?
Brian bought the PS5 physical disc.
Maybe he just wanted that sweet PS5 plastic.
He wanted that white logo on the box, not the.
Be like, I don't hawk that pleb PS4 last gen crap. This wouldn't match the color scheme of my entire PS5 library of 3 games.
Exactly. Dumb. All right, moving on.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Nintendo. Yes, Nintendo announces the Wii U and 3DS eShop closure for March 2023. That means
there's a lot of people complaining about this online right now, which I find kind of interesting because the Wii U was essentially a failure, right? Like it has some decent games on it, but it's not like
a must-have like the Wii.
It's not popular. It's not a must-have. It has some decent, good, some good games on it. So for the people out there,
bro.
It's got Wind Waker HD, which is easily the best game on that console.
Mm-hmm.
For the people out there who it's like, oh no, it's like you have a year to buy your digital 3DS, Wii U games, or just buy them physical, whatever. I will say that this does kind of suck though. Not that I'm rushing out to go buy, some games or anything like that, but it's like there's like easily 1,000 games on these eShops that are just going to be gone forever. Exclusive to these consoles that you will never get again. And for example, like I know like the River City franchise is kind of popular right now because River City Girls and River City Girls Zero just came out and 2's on its way. Those games are pretty popular. If anybody wants to go back in time and play like other River City games, which I that's my favorite franchise there is. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
On the 3DS, there is River City Knights of Justice. That is exclusive to the 3DS, and it is digital only. There is no physical cartridge for this game. So next March, it's gone. You will never be able to play that game ever again.
So then question.
Yeah.
Are these games specifically tied to these consoles because of the control system that they have?
Okay, so yes and no. So like for instance, like those River City Knights of Justice uses 2 screens. It is a DS game. Wind Waker HD on the Wii U uses both like your TV and the gamepad because like that's where your map and your item selection and everything and stuff is. So yeah, things like that are, but that's not to say Nintendo couldn't port that game to the Switch and just you lose that kind of touch functionality.
But that would mean a complete rework at that point for that kind of game.
Castlevania: The Adventure Rebirth.
Yeah,
is a WiiWare exclusive game.
Yeah,
you can only play it on WiiWare, and once they shut the store down, it's gone forever.
Yeah.
So then the only possible saving grace for these like games, I guess, is emulating them.
Basically,
yeah,
emulating so there's a
not that we promote that kind of stuff or anything.
There's a video game preservation group out there. They're called the Video Game History Foundation. And they actually kind of blasted Nintendo on their Twitter account the other day when talking about it because it was like they get why it's being shut down, but like, upkeep and, servers.
Sure, I get it, yeah.
But Nintendo's not actively making an effort to help save these games from just being wiped forever.
Or maybe it's because of their roadmap already stating that, hey, we're going to resell these games once we rehash them to future consoles. Because that's their game. That's their bread and butter right now is let's take old IP and old games that are easily emulated now anywhere else, and then let's just toss them on to the what used to be the Wii store, the Nintendo store and everything. So rebuy them with that functionality.
But that's what I'm saying.
They're not doing that.
So over the next year, I'm probably going to just be looking at eShop games and be like, do I need to save a copy of this?
Be careful though. You only have a few months because the shop shuts down in a year.
Yeah.
But in May, credit card purchases shut down.
And
yeah.
October is like can't buy points anymore. So it's like 6 months is really like it's going to shut down completely.
There's going to be a huge underground movement just to get these damn games working on anything open source.
Yeah,
they are.
That's just going to happen. But it'll be up to Nintendo to be like, is it really worth it? It seems like every single time, like even monetizing videos on YouTube is just like they will bust out their entire legal team to try to take these things down. And so I'm like, where's your effort there, Nintendo? Because these are just fans trying to play your games.
But I think that's my biggest issue with Nintendo is they go after these emulation and ROM sites with with good reason in most cases, but at the same time, their messaging doesn't make sense to me. So they go after these sites of people trying to play Pokemon on because they can't afford to buy in the secondary market for $200-$300 for one Pokemon game. So they go and play an emulation or a ROM, and Nintendo is shutting those things down. But Nintendo refuses to put it on the Switch or in the eShop to allow people to buy that game. So
if you offered it,
then people would buy it.
They would buy it.
Yeah. So then, so on one hand, if you've got this old Pokemon, let's say Pokemon Red or whatever, on the eShop for $40, and people are going to emulation sites, then yeah, shut those down. But right now, they don't offer that game anywhere. The only place you can buy it is on the secondary market, where Nintendo doesn't make any money. So you can't really say that emulation is costing Nintendo money, because if I went and bought a copy from, let's say Brian has a copy of Pokemon Red on the Game Boy, and I went and bought his copy, Nintendo doesn't get any of that money.
Yeah.
So me emulating the game or buying the physical cartridge from someone offhand is the same thing to me. Nintendo should be like, oh, well, people really want to play these games. Let's give them a way to pay for these games. And work with these people who create these emulations and emulators, because that's the scene who's going to preserve your legacy, preserve your games, and then you still make money because they're building your emulation and you're putting the ROMs out there for
without even having to stand up at a completely different division.
I would say another good example of this would be a few years ago is when I finally got into the Shantae series, which I fell in love with. I absolutely love this franchise. I think it's great. I like to play things in order, and so I looked for a copy of Shantae, which was a Game Boy Color game.
Right.
And it is a very rare game. Hundreds of dollars on eBay. It is like, it's like, good luck. And then I went to my 3DS eShop, and it's $5.
Right.
And I said, click buy. And it was like, done. And then I played the game on a legit copy that I bought from Nintendo. They got their cut of the money. They sent WayForward their cut of the money. And that was perfect. It was $5. I didn't have to go spend $400 on a cartridge.
So I think
it was there.
I think it's a Mexican standoff kind of situation, because it's like the only third
we don't
thing.
Need to be racist like that, okay? All right.
The only deciding factor is legality here.
We'll call them Latin standoffs now.
Okay, sorry.
Latin X standoffs.
Go. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. I'm Mexican, so I can say it. So here's the thing, like, the only reason I feel like this is a big, huge problem is because the legality of things, of being able to share this out to an open source group, and also being able to monetize that to its fullest potential, which is why Nintendo doesn't want to hand out this stuff, these source code things, to anyone else. They don't want to share this stuff because in the end, they want to make sure either the profits are locked into only being them without them having to share anything, and then they have the control of whatever material they want to use for whatever games they want to strategically release at certain times. Because even if you say like, oh, you know, we're going to have a new Mario movie, well, that's strategically available for them to say, hey, we're going to release like the old school stuff on the newest consoles, and they can't do that if they already have open source like third-party emulators that are legally doing that.
Yeah.
So I think it's always like a catch-22.
Hold on though. Emulation is not illegal. The emulators themselves isn't doing anything.
Right.
So Nintendo could be all for them creating the emulation. The ROMs itself is where you get into that
copyright law.
Copyright, you're stealing whatever, unless
Right.
you rip them yourselves. However, again, Nintendo isn't interested in selling me those titles. If they were, then we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah,
but
right.
instead, they're saying, oh, we don't care that you like this game. We're not going to offer you a way to get it. And then we're going to actively go against any other methods of getting this game. And what's crazy about the secondary market for Nintendo right now, especially Pokemon, is just throw a random number out there. I would say 40% out there on eBay and other sites are illegitimate copies of those games. They're not even the real version. And Nintendo's not doing anything to stop that from being out there. I mean, this is the same company that sold a NES Mini and a Super Nintendo Mini and then decided, oh, people want this? Yeah, we're not going to make it anymore. And now you have to go on eBay and hope that you're getting a legitimate copy of this stupid console that Nintendo could still sell you. But instead, they've got these fake versions out there that Nintendo, weirdly enough, isn't going after. You would think those are the things you want to target, because what ends up happening is someone goes out, buys a Super Nintendo Mini for $150 on eBay, they get it, it runs like crap, and then they go, well, Nintendo sucks at making consoles, and Nintendo sucks at making hardware, and Nintendo sucks at doing this. But in reality, they're running around with a illegitimate version of it. Yeah,
so
in
the same way that iPhone likes to keep it close to their chest of how they control like hardware, software, and all that stuff, but Nintendo's doing it in a way where it kind of doesn't make sense from their communication standpoint of why these things are a problem, except for just quality control and monetization, right? Like, you can't validate that every copy is legitimately that owner's copy whenever it's emulation, because you automatically have that taste in your mouth that it's been pirated, but you don't have a control system to validate whether somebody owns it or not. So how can they win on that front by just giving you bullcrap communications?
The easy win is open a shop on the Switch and sell me the game again. Or, better yet, open a shop, sell me the game one time, and then your next Switch, or whatever console you want to call it.
I've been saying this for years.
My game follows me. And here's where the morally gray area of piracy and stuff comes into play, especially with this shutting down in a year. There are games right now, today, that you can buy on the WiiWare shop. Let's say you buy this Castlevania game that is exclusive to the WiiWare system, and your Wii dies, and you buy a new replacement Wii again on the secondary market because Nintendo's not selling that console anymore, and they're not getting a cut of that anyway. Yeah. You cannot take this second Wii that you've purchased and re-download this Castlevania game that you bought on a previous Wii because Nintendo didn't put that infrastructure in place.
But yet you're able to do that on every other console.
Of course.
Afterwards.
Yes, Nintendo doesn't, but Nintendo doesn't care enough. So again, if I buy this Castlevania game today because I'm being told the shop is shutting down, right? Let's say I spend the 10 or 20 bucks it is for this game. I play it, I love it, it's great. And then something happens to my Wii. It dies. And I go and buy another Wii. The shop is shut down. I'd lose that game forever. Mm-hmm. Or even if the shop isn't down, I have to buy it again. Why would I spend $40 on a game when I could just have bought it the one time? It follows me. I could play it on my Switch.
And it's not like they don't have the capability, because all your eShop games are tied to your account as it is anyway.
Exactly.
So what does it matter?
They're actively choosing to push people towards piracy, but at the same time having that surprise Pikachu phase when people resort to piracy. It doesn't make sense. So
it's almost like the other meme of the stick in the bicycle. It's like, how dare you?
Yeah, that's Nintendo. Emulation is killing our business, and they're the ones putting the stick in their wheel. Yeah.
All right, let's get on to our last one, because that's a good argument, and we'll continue that on to our Discord channel if anybody wants to continue discussing it. But the last one is Call of Duty anti-cheat nerfs cheaters. What? You actually do what you're designed to do?
I saw this on just on Twitter yesterday, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Joe has any thoughts on this, because you play Call of Duty.
I played Call of Duty until the cheaters started being rampant on their servers. It's crazy.
So Ricochet, that new anti-cheat system that they have.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this until yesterday. I thought it was really funny. Apparently, when Ricochet detects that you're cheating somehow, it starts analyzing your behavior and figuring out how it is you're cheating and everything. But while it's doing that, it makes it so you don't actually do any damage to anybody else.
You do very small amounts of damage.
So
That's
like,
actually brilliant.
so yeah, so you're basically wasting the time of the cheater. Like, you don't just kick them out of the game.
Yeah.
But they are now like, ha ha ha, I'm cheating. Pa, 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 pa. But,
Yeah.
but what? you know?
Yeah,
And so
they get like
think they're, like, doing good.
They get
But
like a
nothing's accurate.
percentage or a decimal, like a single decimal multiplier on
Yeah.
their damage.
So like, they're barely doing anything to anybody. And they're running around, you know, ha ha ha, look at me, I'm cheating.
Yeah,
And,
well, at that point, what do you have to lose, right? You're already caught.
Yeah.
And if, as long as you can survive, you can still be the troll that you always wanted to be without having a kill cam.
But can you be the troll?
Well, that's the
if you're
thing.
Not doing damage.
Yeah, like you're actually like you're basically just wasting their time at this
Well,
point.
here's the thing, like
And
trolls,
I thought that was hilarious. I thought it
trolls
was
don't
really-
care about whether they win or lose, really. In reality, trolls only care about disrupting
Yeah.
the game. And if you're
But it's-
dealing with
yeah.
somebody who's barely
now they
doing
can't.
it, huh?
Yeah, but now they can't.
But they
basically.
can still, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
If you're distracting somebody by pinging them with like 0.1 damage, and the whole purpose of this Warzone battle royale is to kill everyone and be the last one, then they're trolling you by distracting you from the other real players who they could be communicating with and just being like, hey, I'm gonna distract this person so that way you can kill them off when you're not cheating. So it's still a distraction because now you're dealing with somebody trying to analyze if they're a cheater, look at my health, and then just get popped from somewhere else by a huge sniper that's not doing anything or cheating at all.
Yeah.
So they're still accomplishing something for them, and it's just about enjoyment and just being a douchebag, right? But yeah, I totally get it. Now they can't win unless they're really like doing some crazy system in some group game with somebody else. But whatever. I'm not excited to go back into Call of Duty. One, the huge install base was already a bad taste in my mouth just by being like almost 200 gigabytes big for a free-to-play game. But then also now this, where it's just like, now I'm going to have to worry about whether or not someone is cheating and then just distracting me, and there's no point in winning this game. So it sucks either way, but I mean, tell me how you feel about it. If you enjoy playing Warzone in the current state, then let us know why. I don't foresee it getting any better until Daddy Microsoft starts to step in and handle business, if they ever do. Who knows? But it is what it is. Warzone is a free-to-play game to get you involved with all their releases and be like, oh, I might want to play that single story. And then realize why you don't want to play that single story.
Yeah.
Unless it's Modern Warfare. That was great.
Hey, Modern Warfare 2 is coming out this year, so who knows? Yeah.
Nope.
All right,
All
wait,
right.
so with Microsoft buying Activision, Call of Duty still a yearly release?
Currently, because so Infinity Ward was already making Modern Warfare 2, not Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from years ago, but the sequel to Modern Warfare that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen next year because both Treyarch and Sledgehammer got in trouble. So like with all the sexual harassment stuff,
Oh,
Yeah.
they were both named in that. And like Infinity Ward was like, you know, like, looks to be you guys. You know, so we don't know what's going to happen next.
I don't know. I think they're going to be contractually obligated to finish off the games that they had with the multi like consoles, but I think after that they're going to start shaking things up and being like, hey, it's a Microsoft exclusive for 6 months. Play it first on Xbox. You know you're going to see those commercials.
I don't see them doing that. I see them going back to what they did in the 360 era, where they just had DLC or something. Or a month early,
Exclusive
whatever.
DLC for their consoles.
Yeah, it's just really dumb to take that market share off the.
They'd be losing money in this.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it wouldn't be as drastic, but it's definitely, if they, I don't see it them putting past them to have a level of exclusivity that might just feel completely unfair for Sony.
Yeah.
You know, especially because, you know, like the Call of Duty crowd thrives on meta of whatever guns or loadouts there are. And if you have a gun or loadout that's exclusive on Microsoft and you have crossplay, which they do, it might be one of those things like, oh, this is broken because it's unbalanced now.
I don't think they're going to go that route. I think how they win or whatever is just being on Game Pass. That alone is enough to be like, oh, I'll just buy it on Xbox, or I'll just play it on Xbox. I'll buy an Xbox. I have Game Pass. I'm going to play that game anyway, and still allowing those who have a PlayStation to play the game and buy the game. There's so much money lost. I mean, to do that, I could see them maybe having some games be exclusive, like smaller titles that Activision
single player titles or something like that.
But they'd be dumb to say, well, we own it, so we're going to keep it, when you've got 2 times the amount of players on the other console who would buy it anyway.
Do you think that Microsoft would be the type of company that says, hey, instead of you having to buy the single player game to get the 3-day exclusive or head start on a multiplayer game, that they would say something like, hey, if you're on Xbox Game Pass, you get 3 extra days before it releases out to everyone else? Because you know how it is with fighting games, right? Fighting games are like, oh, first in, you're clearly going to be top 8 if you're one of the crazy, players out there that want to get into it. But I just don't know if that would be smart of them to say, hey, if you're on Xbox Game Pass, you get it 5 days ahead of time, or you get a weekend ahead of time from the original release date. Do you think that's possible?
I don't know. As someone who owns everything, humble
flex are over there. As someone who owns the world,
honestly, when, for example, even MLB The Show, I would play that every couple of years
on the Switch
on PlayStation. Right, it was a PlayStation exclusive. I would play maybe one every 3 years, and then it came out on Xbox and on Game Pass, and I played it on that. And I didn't even bother to play it on the PlayStation, because why would I spend $70 on a game that I can play right now for the price of my subscription that I'm already paying for? So just having Call of Duty come to Game Pass day one is a big enough win for Microsoft, and they can still make a ton of money selling that game same day on PlayStation.
Well, it's an exciting time right now because it seems to be playing along to the hands of the gamer. Yeah.
What I would do if I was in Microsoft's shoes with this acquisition of Activision is continue to keep the big titles multi-platform, throw them on Game Pass, but also elevate Game Pass to say, hey, we've got these backwards compatible titles that you haven't seen or played in a long time. We're bringing back Guitar Hero. We're bringing back these licenses that people have wanted to play for such a long time.
Wolfenstein 2009,
but only on Xbox. So,
they got everything now.
Yeah, they could.
That's why they paid $67 billion.
Yeah, they could bring
Wolfenstein 2009.
They could bring those games back. They bring the older games back, put them on Game Pass, put them on Xbox, whatever. And keep the big titles as, multi-platform.
I was kind of surprised that Game Pass acknowledged the PC gaming crowd as well with a dedicated video of just saying like, hey, we got games over here too. And not just any commercial like, hey, we're just Xbox or whatever. They had some big names playing alongside the PC gaming community, where it kind of felt inclusive instead of just PC's just the pirating crowd, like how it used to be. But it's just no, PC, y'all get that too, because we're gonna need you on the platform as well. And I took a look at their property, or I took a look at their selection, and then I noticed that on their cloud gaming, they also provide the Xbox games, but played on a controller on a PC. And I was just like, this is genius, because now I'm not tied to a hardware, right? I can play Xbox games on my PC so long as I have a USB controller, and then just play the old Xbox 360 games that I've always wanted to play. And I was just like, you guys knocked it out of the park with this, because it plays just like how it does on an Xbox, but I'm playing it on my hardware that I chose to play it on, and I could just switch over to a phone if I really wanted to on the go. And I thought that was brilliant. And I just don't know if PlayStation people are going to have that buyer's remorse until PlayStation dishes out whatever their alternative is, if they even think about having an alternative. I would think it'd be too stupid for them not to try to have something.
Supposedly it's in the works. Spartacus,
yeah. And so, with that being said,
exclusive. I gotta buy a PlayStation.
Yeah,
it's really what it comes down to. Here's what Sony needs to do to combat this and win the console war.
There's a war going on.
Yeah,
war has changed.
War never changes. So buy the Konami IPs.
Yeah.
Get Blue. What's that name? Blue Point. Get Blue Point to make me my damn Metal Gear Solid remake, and Sony will be forever in the race again.
Buy Konami, essentially.
Just their IPs. Don't buy Konami. Just take the IPs. Take the ownership of the IPs.
Buy Konami Computer Entertainment, which is
their gaming division,
and then you'll have Metal Gear, and you'll have Silent Hill,
Contra,
Castlevania.
We can get
Contra.
Kojima to work on Silent Hills again. We can get Blue Point to remaster Metal Gear Solid using the Decima engine or whatever the hell they're trying to do.
They would knock it out of the park there.
Exactly, and that would be Microsoft could buy whoever they want at that point, and I would still be buying a PlayStation if I can get my Metal Gear Solid again. I can snake in
Metal Gear Solid Kojima edition.
I don't need Kojima to do anything with it. I just need Blue Point to take the game and remake it and not let Kojima touch it, because as much as I like Kojima, Twin Snakes is a little silly. Those cutscenes are a little out there.
That wasn't Kojima.
He was on that game, right? Did he not?
No, he didn't do the cutscenes. That was Ryuhei Kitamura.
Well, he approved it.
Oh, look at this guy. Yeah. I know these words.
That was Silicon Knights and Ryuhei Kitamura who made that.
Oh my god.
Not Hideo Kojima.
But he approved.
He read the credits.
I know that game. I beat that game. Any cutscene in that game that does not involve Gray Fox is a terrible cutscene.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah. Gray Fox is full of awesome cutscenes.
Gray Fox was the cutscenes.
That's what I'm saying. Gray Fox's cutscenes are amazing in that game.
Because if you compare them,
is like, how did Liquid Snake just like do a front flip while standing on a girder for some reason? Like, what is happening right now? And it's just like,
oh my god. You gotta admit, like, even on the PS1 days, looking at those cutscenes was just like next level.
oh dude, yeah,
They still are.
Metal Gear Solid on PS1's amazing.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, hey, we're at the end of our show. That was our last article. Yeah, Call of Duty with their anti-cheat system, whatever it is. It's pretty neat, but it doesn't fill all the holes to me. We'll just go on next week, same time, same channel, unless Clay, you got a day off. I think Mel will be on the show. Tinder, are you going to make this a daily thing or a weekly thing, or?
I'll be back in 6 months.
6 months? All right. All right.
We'll do a WWE promo style kind of thing.
Sweet.
Every couple of weeks, I'll just do a random one-liner.
You should literally have like one of those scenes where you come out from the stage, like a stage video, and you're just like, you have that music that only you have, and so we know who the fuck's about to come out.
We could do that.
Like
We'll
a stone cold, like glass breaking.
We'll just say every time we'll say coming next week, and then 6 months later is when I actually show up.
That's right. It's like Street Fighter 6 will be announced, and that's like his cue to come in or something like that.
Cinder! Rare.
Or if they announce something Killer Instinct, I'll show up for that too.
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We enjoy you coming out and being part of the chat. We'll be back here next week. Clay, you don't have a day off, right? I don't have a day off. Mel should be on the
days
show.
off, man? Yeah.
And we're always on the Discord. The Nerd Junkies website is up now. And we have some dedicated servers for some video games and stuff. So if you want to join up with, I believe we have Valheim dedicated server, and we also have a Left 4 Dead or 7 Days to Die dedicated server. So if you want to join up on that, hit us up. We're going to be having more servers as we go along. And
I am told, by the way,
yeah,
with PC gaming, I've been told by a lot of guys I know who I work with that Lost Ark game is really good.
So we have a Lost Ark group on our Discord, and they've chosen their servers. But I'm not taking part of that. I already got burnt out with New World. New World was great for like 2 weeks, and then everyone's gone because of bugs. And end game content was lackluster, so whatever.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. Clay, any final words?
What's up with Cody Rhodes leaving AEW to go back to WWE? Wow.
Money, like how it always is. I mean, tell me Vince McMahon didn't just like drop a guap on that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know he has it. Right?
Oh, the guy's still a billionaire. Yeah.
Yeah. Cinder, last words.
It doesn't matter what my last words are. I don't know. I just went with wrestling.
All right, cool.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. And that's pretty much it. Clay, let's get out of here.
Deuces.
Later. Bye.